Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy White. I'm coming at you with a Metalfoes deck profile. Recently, I know a lot of people have been hyped on this deck. This deck's really fast. People are saying it's a new version of Ignites. It can do a lot of things and load the extra deck and just constantly summon 5 monsters. It's a really big threat, and it's been topping a lot. It just won the last UDS and won YCS Mexico. With YCS Minneapolis coming up in 2 weeks, I thought I'd give people a new sort of look on this deck. A lot of people have been talking about playing Jaugen, and Jaugen has been topping a lot. People are playing Aether, some people are playing different ratios of the Metalfoes, some people are playing Ariadne, some people are playing 2 Gofu, some people aren't playing Gofu, some people are even playing a bunch of Magispectors in here. So there's a lot of cool ways you can play this deck, and I thought I'd give some people a really different sort of super standard type builds, inspired a lot by the OCG and how they play the deck. So I'm just going to jump into it. Nothing too much to explain for this part. This is just 3 Metalfoes, 3 of every Metalfoe, so I'm playing 12. The reason I'm playing all of these, all 12, is because you want to draw these as much as possible. An optimal hand has 3 of these and then 2 extenders to your play, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a little bit. So all the Metalfoes, every single one of them, I assume you know what these do. They pop a face-up card and set a Metalfoe spell trap from your extra deck, or from your deck on the field. Sort of cards to complement the Metalfoe engine. I'm playing 3 Eccentric and 1 Luster, so people should know to play Eccentric, and then you can pop your combination and search another Metalfoe, so you can get any missing scale. And this is also scale 7, so you can pendulum summon everything except Full Flame in the deck. Luster is really cool, because you can pop a used Metalfoe, search a new Metalfoe, and then pop the Luster in your scale and get a free set. So Luster is really cool, and then the Eccentrics are always helpful to pop spare back rows, even if you don't need them to extend your Metalfoe plays. That's it for sort of like the Metalfoe engine. These are all the additional cards that Metalfoe pair really nicely with. So I'm playing 3 Bambuku and 1 Kirin. I'm not playing any other Magispector cards. Kirin's just really strong right now, beating Blue Eyes, PK Fire, and some Pendulum variants, and some Demise variants too. This card's just really good right now, and playing the 3 Bambuku, even though it's a really awkward card because you're only really going to be searching for the Kirin, you can Pendulum summon this back later in the game and make Totem Birds, which is really good. So playing this ratio is nice. Losing 2 Kirin makes you play some other things, but I'll explain that once I get to them. Basically, to replace the 2 Kirin, I'm playing a Scout and a Monolith. This is obviously very bricky. This isn't very good in this deck. In my opinion, I feel like this is gimmicky, and the Infinity, although it helps your boards do really well, it doesn't really make your boards super strong, unlike things like Kirin or Gofu. So the main reason to play these is to, yes, like I said, to replace the 2 Kirin that they lost, but it also adds consistency in a different area of the deck, and I'll explain more when I get to it. The last card that I play that sort of extends your plays in addition to the Metalfoe are 3 Gofu. Yes, you can brick with 3 Gofu, and trust me, I have drawn 3 Gofu plenty of times. But you need Gofu. You need to see Gofu. Gofu itself is a +2, and then if you have the Metalfoe Fusion into Zolkin play, it can end up being a total of like a +5. So just having a Gofu, even though there's 3 of them, Gofu is one of the better cards in the deck. And yeah, it bricks, but 3 is really good and helps you draw it more. That's it for monsters. There's definitely ways to fit in things like Max C, which is again a standard card, but I intentionally didn't include Jaugen, Ariadne, or any extra stuff and tried to make this deck as standard as possible, except for, of course, Scout Monolith, but I'll explain why I included that later, like I said. Spells, 1 Metalfoe Fusion. You only want to play 1. It recycles itself, so you can fuse twice in 1 turn, which is really good if you're trying to bait out back row. It's also really good to play to make a board stronger with an Ori Calc or for the Zolkin play. Playing more than 1 is really bad. You don't want to draw this card. It's more of a brick. It's something you want to search. So being able to search this card is really nice, but playing more and just drawing it isn't very good. I played 3 Summoner's Art and 3 Painful Decisions. So I'm going to explain this a little bit. We don't have a lot of Metalfoes. We still have more Metalfoes that are coming out, the Scarm and more fusions. So by playing 3 Summoner's Art and 3 Painful Decision, it sort of makes up for the lack of Metalfoes we have. The reason I decided to play Scout Monolith is so I could play 3 Summoner's Art. If I was playing not Scout Monolith, I would sometimes draw Summoner's Arts, and since Summoner's Art can only get a high scale, you just add another Metalfoe. And you don't want to see all Metalfoes in your opening hand. You want to have, like I said, 3 Metalfoe and 2 cards that aren't Metalfoes and sort of extend your plays. So this helps in that regard. 3 Painful Decision, I am playing Desires, so this can get banished off Desires. Yes, again, drawing multiples is really bad, but seeing this card is really important because you're so low on the number of Metalfoes we have right now. I play 3 Pot of Desires. I know a lot of people are kind of questioning this card, saying that banishing your 10 can sort of make you lose the game. In this deck, there's so many 3-ofs. There's 3 of every Metalfoe. There's 3 Gofu, 3 Bambuku, 3 Summoner's Art, 3 Painful Decision. You can afford to play this. Most of your 1-ofs, things like Monolith, Scout, Kieran, and Metalfoe Fusion are all searchable. So you can get things like your 1-ofs out of the deck before playing a Desires, and then you can banish all your 3-ofs and get 2 more combo cards, which is really, really good. Of course, drawing multiple of these sucks, but seeing this is really important. Like I said, a 3 Metalfoe, 2 extender card hand is really important, and playing 3 Desires helps get you to that really quick. Again, going along with the theme of we're missing Metalfoes, I'm playing an Upstart. I am playing 40 cards, so this Upstart helps you get to your Metalfoes and your additional plays really quickly. That's it for spells. Traps, my Metalfoe traps, I'm playing 2 counter and 1 combination. Before we have the Quick Play Fusion, which for those of you who don't know, they're getting a El Shaddoll Fusion. You should be playing these. Basically, Counter is a really good card. It turns any card on your side of the field into a floater, and itself lets you play around Twin Twister. I like Combination. I know some people are taking this out, but in a more standard build, this is good. Furman cut this. Some other people who have been topping regionals have been cutting this. But this allows you to play around things like Twin Twister. So if you have your scales, you can, at the end of your Pendulum Summon, pop your other scale and set this from your deck. And on your next turn, you can flip this, pop this with the other scale, and search whatever you're missing. So this ends up being really nice. I really like these ratios. This is a very standard ratio. Like I said, this is sort of a non-techie build to give people an understanding of how a standard build of this deck is, because no standard builds have really been topping very much. The last trap I play is Vanity's Emptiness. This is sort of self-explanatory. Emptiness is extremely good in Pendulum decks, and especially good in here when you can play things like Kieran, Void Ogre, and Infinity to protect it. So this is the best trap in the deck. It's even better than your Metalfoe traps, because seeing this and some way to protect it is always amazing and can just win you games outright. Extra deck. The extra deck seems kind of weird. It's all over the place. So for fusions, I'm playing 2 Orichalc and 2 Adamant. Some people are cutting an Adamant just because it's a 2500 vanilla, but I find that having the second Adamant lets you get extra draws with your fusion, which is always important. You most of the time go into 2 Orichalc because you use one to pop a card, and then you use the other one to OTK your opponent with the double piercing damage. So that's it for Metalfoe Fusions. I'm not playing the Crimsonite. Even though Crimsonite is kind of relevant, I feel like it's really hard to summon and doesn't come up that much. I'm playing 1 Dynaster. This isn't very standard, and if I were you, I'd be playing a Break Sword or an Abyss Dweller over this card. This is a personal preference sort of thing. Whenever I Pendulum summon my Luster, I always want to get it back in the extra deck, save it from being castelled so I can make Ignister next turn. So summoning this and also having a Kieran alongside is really, really strong. It only comes up if you draw Luster, which is very rare, but when you do, this card can just put in a lot of work. For Synchros, I play the Zulkin, so you can make it with the Gofu. I play Crystal Wing, that you can summon off the Zulkin. And then things that you can make with the Gofu and a level 3, I play Void Ogre, Ignister, and Stardust. So I'm going to talk about these first. These are all really your targets for Zulkin. Yes, you can summon Stardust off of Zulkin, but it doesn't come back at your end phase because it wasn't Synchro summoned. These all are very good. Making a Zolkeen turn 1 lets you get a free Crystal Wing or Void Ogre, and depending on the deck you're playing against, these are really hard for opponents to get around. You can also bait out back row by making this with a Gofu and a level 3, so something like Bambuku or a Silvered. So making this is really, really easy, and you can also summon this off of Zolkeen. A lot of people forget that. So playing this Zolkeen engine is really good. It makes your fields extremely strong and gives you as much value off of a Gofu as possible. If you're wondering how to make a Zolkeen, you can't make it with a level 5 Pendulum like a Scout or a Monolith. You have to make it with the Adamant Fusion. So you use a Metalfoe and a Gofu token to fuse into this card, and then you use this and the Gofu to make the Zolkeen. I'd like to explain the Stardust really quick too. Most of the time, if you have a Gofu, you can make a Zolkeen. Sometimes, when you only have 2 Metalfoes, you can't make a Zolkeen. You'll have something like a Bambuku, and you'll want to synchro into something. Yes, you can synchro into Void Ogre, which is always a valid option, and the Ignister, which is good going second, but Stardust is also really good going first. It stops things like alternate, makes them attack. It also stops opposing Ignisters. It stops things like Regeki, Dark Hole, which are getting popular for mass removal, and it also stops Twin Twister, which is extremely powerful right now. I play this as sort of like a niche card that's kind of situational. For Exceeds, I play the Nova and the Infinity. This is for Scout Monolith. Basically, you use Scout to search Monolith, you pendulum both, and then you overlay for these. It's pretty self-explanatory. I play 1 Totem Bird for the 2 Bambukus. Making this, in addition to a big field of something like a Crystal Wing and a Kirin, is extremely strong and can win you a game outright. 1 Castel. This is extremely easy to make with things like Counter, and I think it's really strong just to have in here as sort of spot removal for something like an Anti-Spell, which is always a problem for this deck. And then the last card I play is a Big Eye. 2 Volflames make this, and Volflame is usually the one you summon off of Counter, and because you're playing 3 Summoners Art, you're always going to have Volflames. Making this is extremely strong. It can out an opponent's board and make your board extremely powerful as well. So playing this is really strong, and it comes up a lot. That's it for the extra. I'm going to go on the side deck. Side deck, this is obviously personal preference. I like these cards. I tried to make it as standard as possible again, and I'll explain a little bit why I chose these over some other things. But I know everyone has their own sort of cards they like Mystical Rift Panels getting popular, and Typhoon is also really popular lately. So I play 2 Max C. This is extremely good. I don't think I should need to explain this. This beats Blue Eyes, this beats PK Fire, this beats the Mirror Match. This is really bad going first, and Metalfoe want to go first. So playing this in the main deck and drawing it when you're going first is really bad. It's not an engine card. But if you're going second, let's say you lose game 1 and you know you're going second, then you can side these in and get a bunch of free draws. I played 3 Kumungus. There's multiple reasons why I play this one over Gamma Seal. Yeah, the 24 is kind of relevant because Volflame can attack over Gamma Seal, but it double knocks with this. But this is 7th, which means you can Pendulum Summon it and make Big Eye with it. You can also summon this to a Blue Eyes player's field, and they can't overlay for an 8 with this. And even though I am playing 3 of the same, you can always summon Sticky String to your opponent's side and summon 1 to your side, which is really good. I think the Kaijus are really important right now. Just playing 3 of one of them or even 2 of one of them is really strong and really good. 2 Flying Sea. I'm kind of scared of PK Fire. It's really popular at where I am, and playing Flying Sea can shut down the deck entirely. Most people aren't playing an out to this and don't really see this coming, so dropping this against PK Fire can just shut their deck down entirely. I played 2 Ghost Ogre. This is for the Mirror Match and for DDD, which is also, for some reason, very popular. I don't think DDD is strong, but the deck is sometimes very scary, making huge fields of fusions and whatnot, so you can Ghost Ogre and pop their contracts. Metalfoe, this is what it's mainly for. It's a more popular deck, it's the more threatening deck, and you can just Ghost Ogre and pop in a Metalfoe at the right time. You can win the game outright on turn 1. That's it for monsters I'm siding. I'm siding 3 MST. I know some people would prefer Twin Twister over this, but I felt like discarding your Metalfoe isn't very relevant, and especially you can play around a lot of things like Strike by baiting it out with, like I said, Gofu and other cards like your Fusion. So spacing the anti-spell is more important than Twin Twistering back row and losing cards. This has been putting in a lot of work for me in my testing, and I prefer this over Twin Twister very much. A lot of people do like Twin Twister. Obviously, it pops 2 cards and this only pops 1, but I feel like this conserves more resources. And the last set of cards I play are Regeki Double Dark Hole. This is for things like Zolkeen Hero, decks that play Vanity's Fiend, like Monarch, basically any deck that makes strong problem cards that I can't out with a Kaiju. So Dark Hole and Regeki really help against things like that. Also, big board removal is really important against convoluted decks like Dark Synchro. If they have a field, let's say they can't hand loop you, they can only hit you for like 2 cards or 3 cards, and then they'll end with a Zolkeen into a Crystal Wing, and they'll have like a Charge Warrior and a Librarian. So they'll have a big board, and you'll be low on cards, so you won't be able to out everything. You can always just Dark Hole or Regeki and take control of the game. So that's my Metalfoe deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. I was trying to be really standard and, like I said, a little different from what's being topping lately. Give people a fresh idea. Going into more YCSs coming up and a lot more regionals coming up, I think people should understand how many different ways there are to play this deck, and showing everyone this sort of really standard build imported straight from the OCG can help open people's minds as to seeing that they don't always need to play around Jowgen, and sometimes Ariadne might not be the best option for you. So if you don't like cards like that just shut down your opponent and you'd rather Pendulum Summon a bunch of normal monsters, try this build out. It's really fun. Anyway, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my team, Team Free Lunch. We're starting a new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos that no one really expects. They're trying to be as different as possible, very high level, and some of them can get kind of offensive. And we're just having fun over there. So go check it out. We got a bunch of top deck profiles and cool discussions already. So thanks for watching, everyone. Go check out that channel, and I'll see you later.